Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Adventures in Truth livecast. My name is Jim Case. I am the host, and I am excited to be here with you and to get to have another opportunity to share some amazing stuff with you today on Adventures in Truth. I am thrilled, excited, and just joyous at my guest today. She's been here before. She's back again. Cyndi Dale is here with us. I'm going to take a minute on the front end here to do a little bio with Cyndi because we have an action-packed show for you today. So I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to go through these exercises together. We're going to spend the hour giving you tools to help you learn how to shift your own state, how to shift your energy. And so we got about 6 different exercises we want to get through today. So if you haven't met Cyndi's an extraordinary human being. She's a baseball mom, probably first and foremost among anything else. And if you're not sure what that is, check out Cyndi Dale on Facebook. You'll love what she's doing there as she travels with her son. So Cyndi Dale, she's an internationally renowned author, speaker, healer, and business consultant, and the author of 27 books about energy medicine, intuition, and spirituality. In addition, she has worked with over 70,000 clients and presented hundreds of seminars and workshops across America and in Russia, England, Wales, Amsterdam, Iceland, Costa Rica, Belize, Morocco, Peru, Scotland, and more. She is also a favorite teacher and healer for China, leading in-person and online classes, and has been published in over 17 languages. We're going to talk about a couple of her books and stuff. Her bio is extraordinary, but I'm super excited to have her back on the show. She's a great friend and wonderful guest. So we're going to step in with Cyndi here in just a second. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about a book and things. We'll be right back. All right. Fear is a choice, unraveling the illusion of our separation from love. This is to me a profound book. This is a powerful book because ultimately what you're doing is in reading this and taking and integrating this information, you are changing your relationship with fear. And the cool thing about it is, as you go through the book, as you go through that experience, it's tapping into you in an interior place. So you're not reading as a third person. As you're reading, you're going into the experience so that you can find those places within yourself where your relationship with fear has pulled you out of balance, pulled you off your center, or simply immersed you in a consciousness that is completely limiting your life experience. Because what I know and what I know this book can do is change that relationship. And when you change that relationship, it changes everything in your world. Because you go from I'm looking through this little one-eyed monocle here, you go from this very limited, very reduced or dumbed down experience of yourself. When you open up and change that relationship, it opens to potential and opportunity that you could never even imagined from that limited fear place. And then what happens is that as you move more clearly into joy, your power grows, your sense of self grows, your strength grows, and you no longer are willing to live in that diminished place. So www.fearisachoicebook.com. How did I not get that up here yet? www.fearisachoicebook.com. Check it out. The links are there. There's videos there. information, testimonials, all that good stuff. And look forward to it. And thank you very much. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. My world is good. My world is good. This, for me, is the year of conscious creation. This is self-proclaimed, but I think every year should be the year of conscious creation, if I'm being honest with you. Consciously creating, getting conscious of your own experience, being conscious of your process, being able to focus yourself in a way that allows you to know for sure that what you are desiring is something that you can manifest, something you can create. This shift, this movement, this My World is Good, was a way of bringing 7.5 billion unique worlds that inhabit this planet together in an energy that I hope and my focus is in creating a tipping point in the mass consciousness. We spent many years, decades even, in this sort of growing negative field of mass consciousness that is not based in love, that is not focused in people. And I wanted to change that. I wanted us consciously. How do we fix this? How do we change this? Maybe we don't have political aspirations and maybe we don't want to run things like that. But what we can do is contribute in energy. And so My World is Good is a way of first bringing that into your own experience. My world is good. My world is good. My world is good. And we're going to use in that one of the exercises we're going to do later is going to talk about how to build this momentum. But My World is Good is a neutral positive statement that allows us each within the context of our own worlds. And I say our own worlds because you are creating your reality. No one else is. You are living your life. No one else can. You change and evolve in your experience because no one else can do that. So here you are in your world, creating your world. And remember that the things you see in front of you, the things you perceive, those are the beliefs, ideas, emotions, and thoughts and feelings that you carry in your field being reflected back to you. So what you perceive and how you feel about what you perceive is a direct reflection of where you are in context to yourself. So My World is Good is this neutral positive place that allows us to shift that experience from the inside out. And that as you engage this, as you feel this, as you speak it, and as you feel it some more, you're going to find that you're going to start to see more goodness showing up in your world because you are generating that energy within your field and it is being reflected back to you. And as we each do that, as we come together in that field of energy, we create this amazing tipping point. And that tipping point is a place where we begin to influence the mass consciousness in a way that moves toward goodness, that moves toward more of that. So I encourage you, you don't have to have anything special to be a part of this movement. I don't need your email address. I don't need to know your sex. I don't need to know your gender. I don't need to know your politics. I don't need to know any of that. I need to know that you are showing up 100% in your experience. My life is good. Showing up, using your energy, creating change. That's what it's all about. So thank you for being a part of the movement. Share it, participate in it, let it out there in the world so that more and more of that goodness can flood our experience. Thank you for that. And we'll see you on the other side of the break. And Cyndi will be joining us there. We'll see you in just a second. All right, we are bringing in Cyndi. Hi, Cyndi. Cyndi, how are you?
I'm good, and My World is Good. I follow you on Facebook, Jim, and I want you and everyone else to know that it really works to focus on the goodness. I mean, I have so many synchronistic miracles happening. Maybe they're not important to other people, but
yes.
For instance, like I have to move my baseball son's stuff home, kind of for the summer. And a friend loaned me a huge truck so I can actually fit everything in there. And I was going, how am I going to do this? I'm going to have to take things. So, little things are as important as big things in our lives. And your campaign is helping my life. I want to say that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to acknowledge something that you said that's so profound, and that is understand that initially and throughout the process, the things that show up for you are because that's what brings you joy and satisfaction. That's the whole point of you. You're in your own little world here. So get it that the things that feel good may not be Joe and Sue and Steve's thing, but Joe and Sue and Steve are going to have their own thing. And you all get together and go, I can't believe this just happened. Did you have, I know that's what happened for me too. But it happened in a whole different realm of my life. So yeah, remembering that is so powerful.
Great. Other people aren't going to dig Sequoia instead of Prius to drive stuff across North Dakota, but I do.
Yes.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, Cyndi, I'm so excited because this topic, I just feel like we're like bringing presents and saying, here's some presents, have some presents. These exercises, and the reason for this is that there's so many things out there that you can do. We wanted to kind of come up with our top 3 each of these exercises that help us to shift our energy. And for me personally, that shift is about changing state. And when I say changing state, what I mean by that is that it's a measure of elevation in your frequency. So these are things that change your vibration from level 2 to level 4 or level 5 in a very quick period. For some people, you might go level 2 to level 9 if you're already in a good joy state. But typically, you're only going to go 1 or 2 steps at a time because you can't go from anger to joy in one fell swoop. It's not possible. So migrating through and doing these energetic exercises help you to change frequency, which I call changing state. Because as you increase that frequency, your vibration is now in a different place. And that change in your vibration means your perspective is different. It means your vision is different. And it means you're different. So the thing that you are attending to now, you are seeing in a completely different light. And that sounds a little bizarre, but as we get into these, you'll really get to experience that. And Cyndi, I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, to share your version or vision of this from your perspective.
I think you've said it beautifully, because when you change your state and or the frequencies you're giving off, because we're just made out of light and sound, which is frequency. That's it. That's all we are. That's all anybody is, but the world responds to what you're giving off. So if you're kind of sending off the energy of depression, guess what you're going to get back? You're naturally going to attract energies that support the depression, that kind of, and it's common these days. Life is stressful. It's hard. We're not done with COVID. We've got racial tensions. People are out of work. But when you send out different types of energies, or you somehow shift internally, what you bring in will enhance you. And, not just kind of how you perceive things, but changes your body. Like, heart rate, your neurology, your mood. And so these are really practical, energetic tips we're giving today.
Yes. I'm super excited to do that. So we want to, we're just going to launch here. We're going to go for it, because this is going to be, we're going to try to keep these each to about 5 minutes with a little chat between to talk about them and kind of introduce them. But we're just going to carry on through here, and Cyndi's going to get to talk with you all directly about halfway through the show about her new book and things that are going on in her world, and sharing all that stuff. So if you're all ready, let's dive in. We're making a slight adjustment to the show today, in that normally at this point we would do a moment of focus, and we're still going to kind of do that, but in a different format, because we're going to be doing these introducing these exercises. So I'm going to take the first exercise, since that's where we go. And since we would normally go here, and my first one is called a momentum shift. And like we were talking about with how we focus and changing our energy, the momentum shift idea is taking a short phrase like "my world is good," or "everything always works out for me," or something similar. I always experience love. Something that's not long, not terribly involved, and not more neutral, positive than being terribly specific. Because remember, if you're in a place, and the reason for this momentum change in my mind is that you're in a state, you're walking through the world, you're doing your life. And the one that comes to mind is, you're at home, you're doing your thing, and you go to the mailbox and you got a letter from the IRS, and it immediately triggers something in your system. It does for all of us, right? It has that, oh God, what do they want? And so it triggers this energy and it pulls us out of balance. It pulls us off of our center. So this momentum shift is about focusing into a neutral positive energy, focusing your intent so powerfully that what it does is your energy is vibrating, say, at a 3, and you're going to focus this momentum so that you're moving that energy up as best you can. Because remember, when you're in reaction, that's the most difficult time to shift out of reaction, because you've already created a momentum in the reaction. So going neutral positive says, I am in reaction. But the other thing this does is you begin to find out and begin to experience the observer of this, of who you, the observer part of you, the greatest part of you that is not attached to what you're currently attached to emotionally. So this is a very simple process, and we just did it actually with the My World is Good process. And that is, I'm having this moment, I'm in my energy, I'm kind of torqued, and I'm just going to say, and I've done this hundreds of times, I'm feeling that my heart's starting to go, but and I just start with either like My World is Good, or one of my favorites, which I got from Law of Attraction, which is everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And I begin to narrow my focus into that phrase. So all of this other stuff is happening. And I'm saying, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. And I stay in that field and I start to focus into the words. Everything is always working out for me. 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 Notice, just notice the arc of that experience. What did I do that? 7, 8 times? 10 times? Notice the arc of the change in my face, in my energy, and internally, I can tell you, I have goosebumps running up and down my body right now. Because just simply focusing into that for just that little bit of time creates a space between me and the thing that I'm reacting to. And as soon as there's space, there's room for different energy. And as soon as there's room for different energy, your perspective can change. So that's my first contribution, is the momentum shift. So that's where I want to start. What'd you think of that? How did that hit you?
I feel happier.
I was looking at your face and you're just sort of
I was
like
oh, I'm in this sort of, like, people can call it ditzy, but it's that feeling when you're just sort of, oh, what's there to worry about? Why make anything worry? It's all working out anyway. So it's really that,
yes.
You know how hard it is to tell yourself to surrender and let go? That is a process for surrendering and letting go. And it's just not whatever it is I was worrying about. It just feels dissipated.
Yes, that's beautiful. That's really cool. So that's our first step in this process. And I guess now we'll just turn it over to you, Cyndi, for your first step. And where's my little button here? Here it is. Okay, we'll start using light. Okay, place to start?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about, because I already preempted this a few minutes ago, speaking the truth, an adventure in truth, that we are made out of light and sound. So what does that mean? It means we're always impacted by the colors and literally the type of light, nighttime light, daytime light that's around us. And every color or type of light impacts us differently, some negatively, some neutrally, but a lot of times positively. For instance, I don't know if people know that when you're around the color purple, when you're looking at purple, you're alleviating emotional and mental stress. I know, isn't that cool?
Yes.
When you're around red, you're actually increasing your mental energy. You can get more things done quicker. You don't want to look at red at night because you don't want to make your laundry list, while you're going to bed. But all of us are guilty of getting in too much of the blue light that comes in through technology, which decreases melatonin, and then we can't sleep. And we can counteract that with amber eyeglasses or amber color, because with amber, we actually increase the melatonin in our body. And, we're not always going to be able to put on the rose-colored glasses, or dress in a yellow shirt, yellow being the color that decreases depression. So it's good to have like a little technique in our mind, quick visualization, which I'm going to walk us through, to use two basic truths, which is in natural light, we're healthier physiologically, psychologically, and spiritually. And when we're able to gaze at the stars at night without what they now call light pollution or artificial light, we receive light and sustenance, and we're better able to relax too. Studies also show that when you imagine something, you get almost the same benefits as if you're actually perceiving or in that. So let's use that truth and take a couple deep breaths. You may want to close your eyes so that you're able to commit to perceiving on your inner mind's eye the light that is going to enhance your well-being. And just acknowledge your own spirit and your right, your birthright to choosing to image the light that benefits your health. And then allow yourself to just feel that you're in a natural environment during the day. I don't care what one. Most important, I want you to be perceiving that you're looking up toward the sunlight. Now, we know you don't gaze directly at it. You're kind of looking off to the side. And I want you to feel that sunlight coming down, the eyes inside of you capturing that natural, warm light. Our mood is better in natural light. Our body performs better in natural light. Our hormones are made the way they're supposed to be in natural light. Warm light helps our cognitive function versus cold light. So you're saturated right now with that sunlight. So any other time you just want to feel better, again, imagine your eyes closed and you're bringing in that sunlight. And now just shift. So you're out on a prairie somewhere, big, long expanses of grass, no trees in the way, no artificial lights, no street lamps. Your car lights aren't even on, and there are the stars. That's a very different type of light that allows us to relax, to be at peace, and just drink in the starlight. Thousands of stars, seen and unseen, bathing you, comforting you, allowing you to just be at peace. Take a couple more deep breaths. Again, anytime you need to relax, just imagine yourself be on the prairie, natural starlight coming down, the moon peeking out. Maybe it's bold, maybe it's crescent, and now you can relax. Sunlight and starlight, always available for you to shift your mood and your body state. Breathe and be. And I turn our exercises back over to Jim.
Oh, wow. That was really cool.
Don't you feel great? Like sort of mushy almost?
Yes, it was, I was feeling the star experience in particular. I literally was feeling cradled. Like I was just kind of in this bath of stars and everything in my body just went, oh. And that's the thing that I think is extraordinary about these exercises is while it's ultimately the best that you could get out under the stars away from all the stuff, that's why we have imagination, because we can create that anywhere we are, wherever we are, whenever we are. And I say that in full honesty. One of the exercises we're going to do here in a second, I've done everywhere in airport bathrooms, in front of police stations, in my car. I've done it everywhere. And that's the thing about this is that if you're committed to your energy, if you're committed to your well-being, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. You turn on that imagination, you let yourself go there. And it's radical change that I can sit here in front of my blaring lights with my blue blocker glasses.
I have those too.
Yes, feeling that, and that I could sit there and just feel these stars wrapping themselves around me in my own imagination. That's what it is. There it is. I lost 10 pounds just sitting there going, 10 pounds of energy weight, right? 10 pounds of energy. I'd love to say I dropped 10 pounds otherwise, but no. So that was awesome. Thank you for that. And also, the other piece of that I wrote down here was about the color thing. And I hadn't really thought about it consciously, but I am hyper aware of color in my space, particularly in spaces. So in my bedroom, I never use reds or yellows or those colors because I have a sign above my bedroom door that says man cave for a reason. Because I want to go, when I go there, we have a TV, I never watch it. Because that was never a habit I trained. So that space is very powerful. And so the colors are more muted, they're more soothing, they're things that I want to wrap myself in as I go to bed, as opposed to, gee, doesn't this look fabulous? If that makes sense.
Exactly. But if you're going to have to go do a presentation during the day, maybe wear red underwear.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
You'll
bring the influence.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Love it. And that's another important point, is how easy it is. If you're creative, if you're dialed into your experience, something like that, you go, yeah, I don't bring that color into my bedroom, but tomorrow's a big day and I want to feel really in it. I'm going to throw on my red undies, crawl into bed. Nobody knows but me, but I've added that influence to, and again, it's all you. There's a profoundness to that I can't even express in words right now, and hopefully it'll come out later. So, all right, on to the next. All right, this one's fun. This for me, I call this the sustainable state exercise. This I use in my program. It's a cornerstone of my personal daily practices. It is by far for me the greatest way I've found to shift my state that fast, but in a quantum way. So where a lot of times it's a little step. This one for me is my big step. This is, I'm going from wherever I am in the day to my space of alignment and quietness and centeredness. So the sustainable state exercise is a process of igniting the flow of energy between the bottom of your spine and the top of your spine. And it's using breath, which is a foundational experience for me. As you guys know, when I do the moment of focus, the whole point of that is to consciously work with breath, because breath is life force, it's chi, it's prana. It is the thing that animates all of this. So when you learn how to work with breath, you learn how to manage your energy, because that's what breath is. So when you become conscious of breath, you become conscious of your own space in a way that's very different than you might normally experience it. So how do we do this? So I'm going to ask you to take your middle fingers, one of them, it doesn't matter which one. And if you're able to, just reach down to the bottom of your spine at the coccyx. That's that little tag of a bone on the base of your sacrum. And just touch it. I just want you to be aware that it's there, and just a gentle pressure on it for a second. And then bring your other finger up to the top of your spine. And if you trace down the back of your skull, you're going to hit a pit. They call that the mouth of the soul. That's where the spine enters into the occipital bone, and there's a little gap there. And that is the space that is believed, I believe, in Eastern philosophy, where the soul is entered into the body, or something along those lines. Don't quote me. It's right around there somewhere. Okay, so what we're going to do is what you would do on your own, and you can do this on your own now. I do this exercise standing. You can do it laying down, or you can do it sitting. I've done it. This is the exercise I've done everywhere. Airplane bathrooms, stores, everywhere, at work, in my car, because it is the thing that shifts me the quickest and the fastest and breaks the cycle. So I think of this in terms of, like, how when you have a dog, or if you have an animal, particularly dogs, because dogs get fixated. The best way to stop a dog from doing something is to break their attention cycle, right? Because they get fixated. I see a rabbit. That rabbit is my rabbit. I'm going to stay on that rabbit. And they get all pointed into and dialed into that rabbit, and they're going to go for that rabbit, except they can't, because where they are is not safe, or whatever the case may be. So you need to find something that breaks their attention cycle, which is not easy to do sometimes. But that's what this exercise does, is it breaks the attention cycle to what is, so that your energy can spin up to what the potential is. And you'll get to experience that a little bit. So what we're going to do is focus. So if you want to touch that point in your spine, that's great. So I'm going to sit forward here. So you would tap, starting at the bottom, you tap and you're going to inhale through the nose and exhale from the mouth forcibly. So it's going to look like this. And then you go up here. And then you go down. And then you go up and down. And you're alternating between the bottom and the top consistently. When you start this exercise, only do it about 10 times top and bottom, because what will happen is you will notice that you'll get a little lightheaded or you'll get a little spinny. That is a response of your energy system getting overwhelmed by the amount of energy you're giving it in that moment. That's good. If it's too intense, just back off a little bit. Back off the intensity. That's all that you have to change. When I do this exercise now, I do that process, just that piece of it, for easily a minute to a minute and a half, nonstop. Bam, 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 bam. And what happens is that the momentum of it increases. So I always tell people, start from just pull a breath. Feel that. Here. And then the bottom again. Getting completely connected to your breath. And what happens is the breath will take over and you will begin to generate this cycle. And it's actually a figure 8 cycle that's going on, but this will generate this cycle of energy in you. That's the first part of it. The second part is you're now going to go to your heart. So you place both middle fingers onto the heart space. And now you just gently touch that heart chakra, and you inhale and open. And again, you feel that momentum build and you feel all this clearing that's happening while it's going on. And so it's a 2-stage process. The first is the up and down energy. The second is then expanding that energy out into your field. Again, remembering if it feels a little loopy, just back off the intensity and build the intensity over time as you're able to integrate that intensity. So in the beginning, you go, wow, that was intense. And you want to continue to keep breathing until you feel grounded, because this is not an ungrounding exercise, but it can feel that way if you've overwhelmed the system. So let yourself stay in the breath so you stay a little grounded with it. But the whole idea then is what happens next. So that was the exaggerated form of that. Once you're used to these points, you don't have to touch them every time. So when I say I do this in a bathroom, literally I'm sitting in a stall going, and I'm focusing in the bottom, focusing the top, focus bottom, focus top, focus bottom, and do the same thing. And then I touch the chest. And it doesn't have to be monumental. When you're on your own, it's great. The more breath, the better. Once you've entrained yourself to the exercise, doing it, just simply doing the exercise, focusing into the exercise will get your energy going like this, because your energy loves to be spun up. It loves that experience because that's who you are. Being spun up is taking you closer and closer to the organic who you are. So that's my sustainable state exercise.
That is great. I did feel loopy.
Yeah.
Right? But the top of my head is tingling and the bottom of my feet are tingling. So I feel like my soul Jim, is stretched out through my body right now.
Yes.
So that there's that sense of being grounded and being able to be myself. And I so like you talked about that occiput area, that little dent in there. In the Hindu system, chakra system, that's called the Brahma Randra, which means the whole, HOL, God. And when that's open, all our top chakras are integrated and we're able to bring energy down in that keeps rejuvenating the body and allowing and inviting the enlightened state too. So that's why I'm feeling the top of my head tingling, because there's energy coming down for me too.
And on a very practical level, this process I use, again, this is for, I'm going through my day. Remember, as we move through the world, we are energetic beings. So we are encountering energy at every dimension and every level of our experience. And because we don't know what we don't know, As you encounter people through the world, you pick up their crap because their crap resonates with your crap. And suddenly you're triggered for no good reason. You're on an airplane and you're sitting, and you hear a noise and it triggers a thought. And then the person next to you and you're like, I was really in a good state. And suddenly I'm like all down on myself. And I'm feeling like I'm a fail. What is going on? That's what this exercise is about. This is like, no. This is not my state. I want to blow this out. As Cyndi said, it's just up and down. That's what that's for. And that's what works best. And I think, but again, using it as a part of a meditative process that I do in the morning and the evening, I find that it's the same thing. It's, as you were describing, it is opening my energy system to as much of my potential as I can in that moment. Because sometimes I'm not as aggressive. Sometimes I don't, like I'll come in to do the exercise and my body doesn't feel very strong in it. So I don't do it as intensely, or I start off very slowly to see if it's just I've taken on a lot of junk today, so I'm feeling heavy, or is my system just not ready to take on more energy yet? And you'll get to fine tune that over time. That's that whole self-awareness trip. That's where you really get to enjoy this and fine tuning your own field and being a part of that fine tuning consciously. It's awesome. All right. Where are we at here? Well, let's take a moment, Cynd, because this is your time. We're going to do a quick commercial here. And when we come back, Cyndi's going to talk about I think we're going to talk about her new book or talk about whatever she feels like talking about. And we'll be back right after this.
Science of transformation method. And I can't tell you the difference that it's made in my life.
This program is all about you coming into the greatest form of you. Y'all, www.thesciencetransformation.com. I would love to work with you. My program, The Science of Transformation, is all based in the same everything that we talk about with Adventures in Truth, with my book, Fear is a Choice. The Science of Transformation applies all of that in very practical, powerful, transformative experience in sessions and support sessions that help you to break free of the limitations of a fear-based consciousness and changing that relationship, but also reframing your focus so that as humans tend to do, when something occurs in our life, we want to look backwards to try to understand it. And my job as a facilitator is to help reframe those experiences so that you can see that they are absolutely the result of the desire that you have. And it's the things that are occurring between where you currently are and where you desire to be that need to shift and move. And that's why this reframing is so important. So www.sciencetransformation.com. Thank you very much. Cyndi's coming back in. Cyndi's going to talk with you all for a few minutes here, and I'm going to disappear for a minute. So Cyndi Dale, the show is yours.
I was actually in the commercial for the Science of Transformation because I've gone through some of Jim's process and it is life-changing. It's just clearing and clarity and absolutely amazing. I'm going to talk about my new book. It comes out in August of 2021, co-authored with Dana Childs. There it is, Chakras, Food, and You. And it's really not a diet book. I don't diet. I don't believe in dieting. I even eat chocolate, drink iced tea. what's really interesting about this book is it gives you a quiz so you can figure out what's your main chakra and then sculpt a wellness plan according to what is your strongest chakra. So for instance, I'm very first chakra, that's in the hips, that's really physical, and it's about doing and getting things done. So there's certain types of supplements, certain ways to eat, certain times of the day to eat, certain ways to make myself eat to get people more patient with me, because as a first chakra person, I never really sit still. You'll probably notice I'm constantly moving with my hands, but there's ways to help myself meditate. It involves walking, not sitting, and how to sleep best, how to relate with myself and my issues. So it's a very full book. It's not about dieting, it's about harmony with yourself. So I recommend it. You can go on Amazon already and pre-buy it. Chakras, Food, and You by myself and Dana Child. So thanks for the time, Jim.
That was quick and quick.
Quick and quick. Right? And the book is easy to read. It's a quick book too.
Right on. For all things Cyndi Dale, www.cindydale.com. She's an amazing website where you can go to her store and check out all of her books and all the things she has to offer. So please avail yourself of that, or just go right to Amazon and buy the book. It's just as easy that way too. So, all right, we are back and on to the next. Thank you for that. So did you, okay, so the next one, I guess, is me on the list of things here. So we are going to do what I call the sun exercise. So I call it that. It's what how it was trained in me. So I don't know where it originated. It originated with my mentor 100 years ago. But this is a powerful, powerful exercise. Remember, we were talking a minute ago about the influences that we're energy beings. We're influenced, and stuff hits us all day long. Remember, we are constructed of beliefs and ideas and thoughts as well as energy, so that as we move through the world, there's lots of stuff that, even if we're not in proximity to certain people, still have an impact, because energy is energy. So what this exercise does is it's a clearing process. And it's a really simple one. It's a 3-step process that I love to use when I feel myself feeling kind of bogged down. And I'll give you an example. There was a couple friends we used to hang out with. And we would have a great time, but usually within not very long after we would finish spending time with them, I would be a beast. We would leave their house and I would be a beast. I would just be grumpy, and I would never, I'm like, what is going on? And I realized that one of my friends at the time carried this really dark, heavy energy a lot. And I didn't pay a lot of attention to it initially, because it was sort of, that's who he was. So you didn't really do, it was like, okay. But what was happening is that it was pinging something in me. And so it would stimulate or trigger something in me, my own stuff. This was not about him. This was about me. So it would trigger me, and I would go into that same funky space that I was experiencing from him. And that's where this exercise is so powerful. It's not about blame at all. It's about recognizing that something came into my field that stimulated my own nonsense. And now I'm in reaction, and I didn't even blink. I was just sitting here doing nothing, But even as you're moving through the world, so sun exercise, 3 stages. First is obviously get yourself in a quieted space as best you can. You don't have to make this lengthy. A few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, just getting centered and present in this current moment. And then the first step of the exercise is to, in your imagination, build, or go stand outside in front of the sun, but in your imagination, build this giant sun that envelops you. You're standing in the middle of this magnificent sun that's radiating into your field. And then you ask that sun to please remove from me all energies that do not belong to me, energies that I've picked up, energies that I've assumed, energies that I've taken on as I've moved through my world. I ask you to take those energies, purify them, and send them back from where they came. And I just sit in that, and I look and I watch as the sun, because what will happen is it pulls that energy, the sun will darken, and you'll just see those dark energies start to move, and the sun will purify them and move them on. If you find that you've inundated in a way that is so impactful that all you can see is dark in the sun, then simply blow the sun up and build a new one, and keep doing that until there's no more darkness filling that sun space. And sometimes the first couple times it takes a few suns, because you don't realize how much stuff you take on, especially if you consider yourself an empath or you consider yourself one of those people who are always susceptible, this is a powerful exercise for that. So once you've allowed that sun to remove from you all energies that don't belong to you, destroy that sun, build a new one, and sit in that sun and ask that sun to return to you all energies that you've left scattered about the universe. Stuff you've given to people, stuff, whatever it is, in your compassion, in your whatever, you've left energy debris around the world in your own experience. Call that energy back to you, purified and cleansed, because it's going to come through that sun. It's going to purify it and return to you as just pure energy. And you allow that and you be in that, but you're breathing through this whole process. And each segment's going to take however long it does, usually not more than a couple minutes. Literally, you can get in there, and once you're used to this, you get in, you command the sun, you ask it to please do that, you let that experience happen, and then you move on to returning your energy. And then the last piece of this that I like to do is, as I'm building a new sun, so I've returned my energy, the sun is clear and purified, so now I'm going to ask this sun to incinerate every cord, cable, hook, attachment, link, whatever you call them, to anyone, anything, any thought, any person, completely incinerate every connection that my energy is having one way or the other. Because ultimately, we make those connections, I would say 99% of the time, inappropriately. And they are actually taking our energy. They're not doing anything useful. So get rid of the cords. The cords are ways that we energetically connect to people thinking we're doing something good, when really, if they're not in a receptive mode, if they're not taking it, it's not happening. So let the sun obliterate those. And if there is something there that you have constructed as a part of your agreement energetically, that won't change. And that's okay. That's something that you can experience, but that's part of becoming conscious of your energy space, seeing where those are and questioning them and saying, is that supposed to be there? And letting the sun do that. And I'll tell you the thing that happens for me every time I do that clearing of just incinerate all of those cords, let them go away. I feel a lightness and an expansiveness immediately when I do that. Because all of those cords are taking parts of my energy that I need. So I didn't do that quite as powerfully in the meditative state because it required more explanation. But again, start with the first sun, immerse yourself in that sun energy, ask that sun to remove from you all energies that don't belong to you, return them from where they came, cleansed and purified, and let those energies dissipate and move out of your field. And then a few deep breaths as you settle into that, in through the nose, out through the mouth. You reconstruct this sun, and I ask this sun to return to me all energies that I've left strewn about the universe, wherever I've left it. Doesn't matter. The story's unimportant. In both directions, it doesn't matter. Just reclaiming the energy. Feel that energy. And a lot of times when you do that part of the exercise, you can feel where you tend to lose energy in the chakras. You'll feel a fullness come back into your heart, or you'll feel your tummy kind of relax a little bit, or you'll feel a tightness that was in your solar plexus sort of ease, or even in your throat. You'll start to notice over time where you tend to give away energy. Okay. And then that last piece, build that giant sun again and just ask it to incinerate any cords, attachments that I have going out or that are coming in. Get rid of them. They're gone. And feel that. And then you can also spend a moment in that space, seeing if there are things that you need to do to help protect your chakras. So maybe you have your solar plexus open way too wide because you're desperately seeking to feel powerful. So what you can notice is that you can make adjustments so that having your solar plexus open that wide isn't healthy, because you're taking in, and there's no filter there. So if you imagine a filter there, you can allow energy to flow freely, but the filter can catch the stuff that doesn't serve. And then as you do the sun exercise, it incinerates and goes away. So that's the sun exercise for you today. Exercise 5. How are we doing? We're good.
I feel sunnier.
Well, sunnier.
And in our last few minutes, I'm actually going to combine a couple exercises that is the
Right
fourth and the
on.
sixth,
Okay.
because one has to do with what is these days called forest bathing, or being able to bring in for yourself what is now called vitamins of the air. And the other one has to do with using what's called absolute light. So we have a lot for you that has to do with nature and light. So let me back up into talking about what are vitamins in the air. These are literally scientifically negative ions. Those are molecules who have added or subtracted an electron. And most of us are always around positive ions, which are depleting, exhausting. It's city air, it's stagnant air, and it costs us physical and emotional energy. So what creates vitamins in the air are forests. In Japan, this is called forest bathing. If you're just around a forest or a set of trees for 20 minutes, you take in negative ions. You're going to be less anxious, less depressed, your immune system's going to work better, etc. The other way to access those vitamins in the air is to be around running water, like babbling brooks. But you can even go take a shower or turn on the water, kind of open up the faucet. Anytime you're around running water, you get negative ions. I'm going to combine how to manufacture that experience for yourself. Obviously, you can do it in real life, in your imagination, and also bring through something called absolute light, which is a real light in the universe. I love describing it this way. It's a light that casts no darkness. It is really a light that is just light. It has no opposing energies, no polarities. It's spread through the universe. I think of it as the heavenly light. And it's been here since before the Big Bang. So let's combine these two kind of ideas. It's not a stretch of the imagination, because again, when you experience something, when you visualize it, it is real for the body. So you can quick create vitamins in the air for yourself and bring this absolute light, which is everywhere, through your body to do like Jim was doing in his sun exercise, to push out what's not yours and fill yourself in with your own energy and the energy of love. So breathe deeply, feel your feet. Just imagine that sunlight we've been talking about again, that it's here and present. And then with that sunlight, know that you're also in a grove of trees. And meandering through those trees is a babbling brook. Now, those are creating negative ions. I don't care what kind of physical environment you're in, you are now allowing your body to create for itself these vitamins in the air. And in that instant pick-me-up, also bring yourself into the very center of your heart chakra. This is where your spirit dwells with whatever it is you call the greater spirit. And in here is also a haven, like a pool of that wonderful, beautiful, absolute light. All you have to do is request that your own essence bursts that light out of the center of that chakra and every other chakra to move through the body, through the field, to instantly transform any aspect of your energetic and physical body to reflect who you actually are, your real self, your true self, your original self. And you can do this anytime you want. Instantly like that. You don't even have to close your eyes. And allow yourself anytime you want to just know yourself as doing the forest bathing, being in that moving water. So you're taking care of the physical body and your spirit body. Separately together, you can do these two activities so quickly, you truly transform yourself and the room around you with just that mere thought. Breathe again, be the absolute light you are. And you know what? Why don't you go around for the rest of the day turning on water faucets and imagining that this grove of trees accompanies you. Vitamins in the air.
Wow.
Cool, Jim? Don't you love that?
Wow. I'm like,
No.
I just, as soon as you were doing, I was like, there I am. And and everything is glorious. And wow. And it reminded me, I got to tell you.
Here we are.
Yeah, extraordinary. I went to, I was having a funky day and I went to a place up in the mountains that I love to go to called Lair of the Bear.
Ooh.
And it's a wonderful little park. And there's a creek there and it's just beautiful. But I went down there and I was really out of sorts. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk for a little bit. And then I started looking at the trees and I decided I'm going to reach out and I just started touching. I touched a tree and I just closed my eyes and felt the tree and went, wow, that's amazing how this tree feels. And then I went to a different tree, completely different experience. But it was the same soothing, but it was like, so I did that like 6 different trees and they were all different and they were all magical. And some had a lot of energy and some were just waking up and some were, it was like, I've never felt this before. This is incredible. So yeah, so that visual was like, bam, I was right there again.
It does it. Exactly. Yeah.
Right there again.
Yep. Thank you.
Miss Cyndi, I cannot begin to express how much gratitude I have for your being here today. And I thank you all out there. And I hope that you can pick one of these exercises or all of these exercises to help you in your own process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send a note. If you see this video, put a note in the comments. I'm happy to respond. I always check around to see if people are responding. But this has been an amazing conversation. And I hope for all of you out there, a powerful one that will help you find ways to shift your energy in the best way possible so that you can continue to step into your greatness and the wonderfulness of who you are. Cyndi, would you like to say anything before we close today?
Let the light in. That's it.
Let the light in. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And I know you got to go. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks,
and have a wonderful day, guys. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Adventures in Truth Livecast. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you'd like to learn more about Jim's book, Fear is a Choice, Unraveling the Illusion of Our Separation from Love, check it out at www.fearisachoicebook.com. Also check out Moments of Truth, a new offering from Adventures in Truth. If you'd like to work with Jim, check out www.thesciencetransformation.com to book a session. Tune in live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and every Friday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Or look for our new releases and podcasts every Monday. Until next time, be well, and we'll see you again on Adventures in Truth Livecast.